The elevator doors wouldn't open. Marcus Chen stood in the marble lobby of Thornwell Tower at 11:47 at night, mop bucket beside him, watching the maintenance panel blink red. System failure, complete shutdown, repairs estimated at 6 hours minimum. Marcus exhaled slowly, calculated the problem. 12 floors, 23 offices to clean before his shift ended at 6 in the morning. No elevator meant the stairs. 12 flights up, 12 flights down, carrying supplies, emptying trash, repeating the journey 24 times. His lower back already ached from his day job at the warehouse. His daughter Jasmine was asleep at his sister's apartment, her asthma medication running low, the refill costing $63 he didn't have until Friday. He needed this night shift, needed every shift. Single fathers working 2 jobs didn't get to complain about broken elevators. He grabbed his supplies and headed for the stairwell. What Marcus didn't know was that on the 8th floor in the corner office, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, Victoria Thornwell was working late. Again. The founder and CEO of Thornwell Industries sat behind her desk, platinum hair pulled back severely, reading acquisition reports with the focused intensity that had built her empire. She was 41 years old, worth $3.7 billion, and absolutely utterly alone. Her son Ethan was home with the night nurse, 12 years old, paralyzed from the waist down since the car accident 4 years ago. The accident that took her husband, the accident that happened because she demanded they drive through a storm to make it to her company's annual gala. Because missing the gala would look weak, because perception mattered, because she'd always put the company first. Until the truck lost control on the wet road and her husband died protecting their son. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. Victoria pushed the memory away like she always did, buried it under spreadsheets and strategy. Work was safe. Work didn't judge her. Work didn't blame her for choosing ambition over caution. Her phone buzzed. The night nurse. "Miss Thornwell, I'm so sorry, but my mother's been rushed to the hospital. Heart attack. I have to go right now." Victoria's chest tightened. "Of course. Go. Is Ethan—" "He's asleep, but you need to come home. I can't leave him alone." "I'll be there in 20 minutes. She grabbed her coat, her briefcase, rushed to the elevator, pressed the button. Nothing. Pressed again. The maintenance notice glowed on the small screen. System failure. The stairs. Victoria stared at the stairwell door, 8 flights down, in heels, carrying a briefcase. She could do this. She'd climbed mountains of corporate challenges. This was just stairs. She pushed through the door and started descending, her footsteps echoing in the concrete shaft. 4 floors down, she heard something. Footsteps coming up, heavy, steady, purposeful. A man emerged around the landing below her, late 30s, Latino, wearing a janitor's uniform with the Thornwell Building Services logo. He carried a mop bucket in one hand, a supply bag over his shoulder. His face was lined with exhaustion, but his posture was straight, determined. Their eyes met briefly. He stepped aside to let her pass, nodding respectfully. "Evening, ma'am." Victoria nodded back, continued down. Behind her, she heard him continue climbing. 8 flights up with that equipment. Then he'd have to clean, then climb down, then repeat. All night. She'd never thought about it before. The invisible people who kept her building pristine. The ones who worked while she slept, who made her world function, who she never actually saw. She reached her car, drove home through empty streets, her mind already shifting to logistics. Find a replacement nurse, rearrange tomorrow's meetings, make sure Ethan's physical therapy appointment stayed on schedule. She pulled into her driveway. The house was dark except for Ethan's room. She found him asleep, his wheelchair beside the bed, his breathing soft and even. Victoria stood in the doorway, watching him, her beautiful boy, so much of his father in his features. She'd given him everything money could buy, the best doctors, the best equipment, the best education, but she couldn't give him what he needed most. She couldn't give him her time, her presence, her undivided attention. Tomorrow she'd find a new nurse. Tomorrow she'd go back to the office. Tomorrow everything would return to its carefully controlled routine. She just had to make it through tonight. At Thornwell Tower, Marcus reached the 8th floor for the 3rd time that night. His legs burned, his back screamed, but he'd developed a rhythm. Clean 3 offices, go down for water and supplies, come back up. Repeat. He was emptying a trash can when he heard his phone buzz. His sister. "Marcus, Jasmine's having trouble breathing. I gave her the inhaler, but it's not helping much." His heart stopped. "How bad?" "Not emergency room bad yet, but I'm worried. How soon can you get here?" Marcus looked at his watch. 2:17 in the morning. He had 11 more offices to clean. If he left now, he'd lose the job. If he didn't leave and Jasmine got worse. "I'm on my way." He grabbed his supplies, headed for the stairs, took them 2 at a time, going down despite his exhausted muscles. His daughter needed him. Nothing else mattered. He burst out of the building into the cold night air, started jogging toward the bus stop 3 blocks away. His phone buzzed again. Unknown number. "Hello? Is this Marcus Chen?" A woman's voice, strained, professional, but cracking at the edges. "Yes? This is Victoria Thornwell. You're the night janitor at my building, correct?" Marcus stopped running. Why would the CEO of Thornwell Industries be calling him at 2 in the morning? "Yes, ma'am. I need your help." The words came out rushed, almost desperate. "My son's night nurse had an emergency. I came home, but I have a crisis at my Shanghai office that requires my immediate attention. A video call that cannot be rescheduled. But my son, he has severe anxiety about being alone at night. If he wakes up and no one's here, he panics. I don't have anyone else to call." Marcus's mind raced. His daughter needed him. But this woman's son needed someone too. A paralyzed child, alone, afraid. "Ma'am, my own daughter is having an asthma attack. I was just heading to her now." Silence. Then quietly, "I understand. I'm sorry to have bothered you. I hope your daughter is okay." She was about to hang up. "Wait," Marcus heard himself say. "Where do you live?" 15 minutes from the tower. "But please, your daughter." "My sister's with her. She's stable for now. Give me your address. I'll come sit with your son until your call is finished. But then I have to go to my daughter." Another pause. "Why would you do this?" "Because he's a kid who's scared. And nobody should be alone when they're scared." Victoria's voice cracked. Thank you so much." She gave him the address. Marcus flagged down a taxi he couldn't afford, gave the driver the location. 12 minutes later, he stood in front of a mansion that belonged in a magazine. Stone facade, manicured lawn, security gate that opened after Victoria confirmed his arrival through the intercom. She met him at the door. Up close, she looked different than she had in the stairwell. Still elegant, still composed, but her eyes were red-rimmed, exhausted, human. "He's upstairs, 2nd door on the left. His name is Ethan. He knows someone is coming, but he might be anxious with a stranger." "I understand. I'll be in my office at..." The end of the hall. "The call should only take an hour. There's water in the kitchen if you need anything. And Mr. Chen..." She paused. "Thank you, truly." Marcus climbed the stairs, found the door, knocked softly. "Ethan, my name is Marcus. Your mom asked me to hang out with you for a bit." "Come in." A boy's voice, quiet but clear. Marcus opened the door. The room was large, filled with books and model airplanes, and a telescope by the window. Ethan sat in his wheelchair beside his bed, wearing Star Wars pajamas. He had his mother's sharp features, his father's dark eyes. He looked small in the big chair, vulnerable. Hi, Marcus said gently. Your mom said you don't like being alone at night. I'm 12. I shouldn't be scared. Ethan's voice was defensive. I'm 37 and I still don't like being alone in the dark. Fear doesn't have an age limit. Ethan looked at him, surprised. Really? Really? Marcus sat down in the chair by the bed, careful not to get too close too fast. You like airplanes? He gestured to the models. My dad and I used to build them, before the accident, before everything changed. They're really good. You're talented. My dad was talented. I just followed his instructions. Ethan's fingers traced the arm of his wheelchair. I can't build them anymore. My hands shake too much now. Side effect of one of my medications. Marcus saw the grief in the boy's face, not just for his father, for everything he'd lost, his mobility, his hobbies, his old life. You know what my daughter loves? Marcus said. Origami, paper cranes, flowers, all kinds of stuff. Started because she has asthma and sometimes she has to stay still during attacks. Origami keeps her hands busy, her mind focused. Does it help? She says it makes her feel like even when her body isn't working right, her hands can still create something beautiful. Ethan was quiet for a moment. Then, what's her name? Jasmine. She's 7. Is she okay? Mom said you had to go to her. Smart kid. She's having some breathing trouble tonight. My sister's with her. I'll go check on her after your mom's call. You should go now. I'll be fine. I promised your mom I'd stay, and I keep my promises. Ethan studied him with eyes too old for 12. You're not like the other people who work for my mom. What do you mean? They're all scared of her. They act fake. You seem real. Marcus smiled. I am real, and I think your mom is too. She's just carrying a lot. She blames herself for the accident. Ethan's voice dropped. She thinks I don't know, but I hear her crying sometimes at night. Through the walls. Marcus's chest tightened. This child, paralyzed and grieving, worried about his mother's pain. She loves you very much, Marcus said quietly. I know, but she's never here. She's always working, like if she works hard enough she can fix everything. But she can't fix me. You're not broken. Yes, I am. Ethan's voice cracked. I can't walk, can't play sports, can't do anything normal kids do. Marcus leaned forward. Can I tell you something my daughter taught me? Ethan nodded. After her mom died, Jasmine was 4. She asked me if God made a mistake giving her asthma, if she was broken like her mom's car that couldn't be fixed. You know what I told her? What? I told her that strong doesn't mean your body works perfectly. Strong means you keep going even when it's hard. And she's the strongest person I know. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. I don't feel strong. That's because you're doing it. When you're in the middle of being strong, it just feels like surviving. A tear rolled down Ethan's cheek, then another. Marcus didn't move, didn't try to fix it, just let the boy cry. Sometimes that's what people needed most. Permission to not be okay. After a few minutes, Ethan wiped his face. Sorry. Don't be. Crying is brave too. The night nurse never lets me cry. Says I need to stay positive. You need to be human. Human includes sad sometimes. Ethan smiled shakily. You're weird. I get that a lot. They sat in comfortable silence. Then Ethan asked, Will you tell me about Jasmine? So Marcus did. Told him about her paper cranes, her favorite books, how she wanted to be a veterinarian even though she was allergic to most animals. Told him about the time she saved 3 months of allowance to buy Marcus new work boots because his old ones had holes. Ethan listened, hungry for stories of normal life, of a father and daughter navigating the world together. She sounds amazing, Ethan said. She is. You'd like her. I don't really have friends. Hard to make them when you're homeschooled and can't go places easily. That must be lonely. Yeah. Ethan looked at his hands. Sometimes I wish my mom would just stay home one night, watch a movie with me, not work, not answer emails, just be there. Marcus understood. He worked 2 jobs, barely saw Jasmine, but when he was with her, he was fully present. This woman worked constantly but was never truly there. Different struggles, same emptiness. Have you told her that? She wouldn't listen. Her company is too important. You're more important. Not to her. I think you are. I think she just doesn't know how to show it. Down the hall, Victoria sat in her office, listening. She'd come to check on them, heard their voices through the door and frozen, heard her son crying, heard this stranger, this janitor, comfort him in ways she never could, heard Ethan say she didn't listen, heard him say the company was more important than him, heard the truth she'd been running from for 4 years. She pressed her hand to her mouth, held back her own tears. She'd thought providing everything material was enough, thought money could substitute for presence, thought staying busy kept the guilt away. But her son was lonely. Her son was crying to a stranger because his mother was too broken to be there. The video call notification chimed on, her laptop. Shanghai was waiting. $70 million deal hanging in the balance, investors expecting her. Victoria stared at the screen, then she closed the laptop. She walked to Ethan's room, knocked gently, opened the door. Both looked up, surprised. The call can wait, Victoria said, her voice thick. Ethan, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Mom? Ethan's eyes widened. Victoria crossed the room, knelt beside his wheelchair, took his hands. You are more important than any deal, any company, any call. I've been terrible. I've been absent. And I've been lying to myself that I was doing it for you. Tears streamed down her face. I was doing it for me, hiding from the pain, hiding from my guilt, but you needed me and I wasn't there. Ethan started crying again. I just miss you, Mom. I'm here now. I'm right here. She pulled him close, held him tight. I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. Marcus stood quietly, started to leave. Wait, Victoria said, not letting go of Ethan. Don't go yet, please. Marcus paused in the doorway. Victoria looked at him through her tears. You didn't have to come here tonight. You didn't have to comfort my son when your own daughter needed you. Why did you? Marcus thought about it. Because 4 years ago, when my wife died, a stranger sat with Jasmine in the hospital waiting room while I fell apart. Just sat there, held her hand, told her stories. I never got to thank that person. So now when I see someone who needs help, I help, even if it's inconvenient, even if it costs me something, because that's what we're supposed to do for each other. Victoria stared at him. In her world, people helped when it benefited them, when there was a transaction, a return on investment. This man helped because it was right. Your daughter, Victoria said suddenly, you need to go to her. The call can wait. Everything can wait. Victoria pulled out her phone. What pharmacy does she use? I'll have her medication delivered tonight. What else does she need? Marcus shook his head. I can't accept. You sat with my son when you should have been with your daughter. Let me help, please. Something in her voice made Marcus pause. This wasn't charity. This was reciprocity. This was connection. Memorial Pharmacy on 5th Street, he said quietly. Albuterol inhaler. And if they have the nebulizer solution, that helps when it's really bad. Victoria was already making calls, her CEO voice returning, but softer now. This is Victoria Thornwell. I need an emergency medication delivery. She gave the details, the address of Marcus's sister, her credit card information. They'll be there in 30 minutes, she said, hanging up, with both medications and a new nebulizer machine. Consider it a thank you. That's too much. It's not enough. Victoria stood, still holding Ethan's hand. Mr. Chen, you showed my son more compassion in 1 hour than most people have in 4 years. You can't put a price on that. Ethan looked between them. Marcus, will you come back? Sometime? Victoria's breath caught. Ethan rarely asked for anything. Marcus smiled. If your mom says it's okay. Please, Mom? Victoria looked at this man who'd climbed 8 flights of stairs carrying supplies, who'd rushed to help a stranger's child, who'd spoken truth to her son when no one else would. Yes, she said. Please come back. Marcus nodded. I should go check on Jasmine now. Of course. And Mr. Chen, you don't need to finish your shift tonight. I'll make sure you're paid for the full time. I don't want special treatment. You're not getting special treatment. You're getting basic human decency, which you've been denied for too long in a building I own. Her voice hardened with determination. That changes now. Marcus left, caught a taxi back to his sister's apartment, found Jasmine breathing easier, the new medications already delivered. His sister stared at the expensive equipment. Where did this come from? If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. Long story, Marcus said, pulling Jasmine into his arms. Daddy, she wheezed softly, I was scared. I know, baby, I'm here now. She fell asleep against his chest, her breathing steadying. Marcus held her, exhausted, overwhelmed, wondering what had just happened. At the mansion, Victoria tucked Ethan into bed. He grabbed her hand before she could leave. Mom? Yes? Marcus was right. You're not broken either, just scared. Victoria's throat closed up. When did you get so wise? I have a lot of time to think. She kissed his forehead. I love you more than anything in this world. I'm going to do better, I promise. I know. After Ethan fell asleep, Victoria went to her office, opened her laptop, and sent an email to her executive team. Effective immediately, I'll be working remotely 3 days per week and limiting evening commitments. Family takes precedence. Adjust expectations accordingly. Then she opened a new message addressed to building services. Please provide contact information for night janitor Marcus Chen. Urgent. She stared at the screen, thought about the man who'd climbed 12 flights of stairs without complaint, who'd put a stranger's child before his own needs, who'd spoken truth with kindness. Tomorrow she would do something she'd never done before. Tomorrow she would make an offer that wasn't about business. Tomorrow everything would change. But tonight, for the first time in 4 years, Victoria Thornwell fell asleep in the chair beside her son's bed, holding his hand, finally present, finally home. The morning sun hit Marcus's face through the thin curtains of his sister's apartment. He woke with Jasmine curled against him, her breathing steady now, the nebulizer still humming softly on the nightstand. His body ached from the stairs, from the taxi rides, from sleeping upright in a chair, but Jasmine was okay. That was all that mattered. His sister Carmen appeared in the doorway with coffee. You look terrible. Feel worse. Marcus carefully disentangled himself from Jasmine, followed Carmen to the kitchen. Thanks for watching her. That's what family does. Carmen handed him the mug, studied his face. You want to tell me why Victoria Thornwell's personal assistant called my phone at 3 a.m. to confirm the medication delivery address? Marcus nearly choked on his coffee. Her assistant called you? Said Miss Thornwell wanted to ensure the delivery arrived safely and that Jasmine received proper follow-up care. Left a number for a pediatric pulmonologist, top specialist in the city. First appointment already scheduled for next week, fully covered. Marcus set down the mug, his hands shaking slightly. I didn't ask for that. What exactly happened last night? So Marcus told her. The broken elevator, the climb, the phone call, sitting with Ethan, watching Victoria break down and finally see her son. Carmen listened without interrupting, her expression shifting from concern to something else, something that looked like hope. Marcus, she said quietly when he finished, this woman is one of the richest people in the state, and she's paying attention to you, to Jasmine. That doesn't happen by accident. She's just grateful it'll pass. Or maybe it's the beginning of something that could change your life. Both your lives. Carmen leaned forward. When was the last time someone with power used it to help you instead of ignore you? Marcus didn't have an answer. His phone buzzed. Unknown number again. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. Mr. Chen, this is Catherine Wade, Miss Thornwell's executive assistant. Miss Thornwell would like to meet with you today at 2 o'clock, if you're available, at her office. Marcus looked at the clock. 9:30 in the morning. He had to be at the warehouse at 3 for his afternoon shift. I have work at 3. Miss Thornwell is aware. She's asked me to contact your employer and arrange for you to have the afternoon off. With pay, of course. She can't just... She can, and she has. Will 2 o'clock work for you? Marcus felt like the ground was shifting beneath him. What does she want to meet about? She didn't say, only that it's important. Catherine's voice softened. Between you and me, Mr. Chen, I've worked for Miss Thornwell for 8 years. I've never seen her request a meeting like this. Whatever she wants to discuss, it matters to her. Okay, Marcus heard himself say, 2 o'clock. Excellent. I'll send a car for you at 1:30. Address? He gave her Carmen's address, hung up, stared at his sister. She's sending a car. Carmen's eyes widened. Marcus, this is serious. It's probably just about the building. Maybe she wants to talk about the elevator maintenance or something. You don't send a car and clear someone's work schedule to discuss elevator maintenance. Jasmine appeared in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. Daddy, are you staying today? Marcus crossed to her, scooped her up gently. For a little while, baby. How are you feeling? Better. The new machine helped. She looked at the nebulizer with its sleek design, so different from their old, battered one. It's fancy. A friend helped us get it. What friend? Marcus hesitated. Someone I met at work. At 1:25, a black town car pulled up outside Carmen's building. Marcus had showered, changed into his one decent shirt and pants, tried to look presentable. He kissed Jasmine goodbye, promising to be back for dinner. The driver opened the door without a word. Marcus slid into the leather seat, feeling completely out of place. The car smelled like expensive cologne and possibility. They pulled up to Thornwell Tower at exactly 1:55. The driver escorted him to a private elevator that required a key card. They rode to the 14th floor in silence. The doors opened directly into an executive suite. Catherine Wade stood waiting. Late 50s, gray hair in a perfect bun, sharp eyes that missed nothing. Mr. Chen, right on time. Miss Thornwell is expecting you. She led him through a corridor lined with awards and magazine covers featuring Victoria, Forbes, Fortune, Time, all variations of the same headline, The Woman Who Built an Empire. Catherine stopped at a set of double doors, knocked once, then opened them. The office was enormous. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city, the morning sun painting everything gold. Victoria sat behind a glass desk, platinum hair down today, wearing a cream blouse instead of her usual severe suits. She looked younger, less guarded. She stood when Marcus entered. Mr. Chen, thank you for coming. You didn't give me much choice. It came out sharper than he intended. Victoria's lips quirked. Fair. Please, sit. Marcus sat in one of the leather chairs facing her desk. Catherine retreated, closing the doors behind her. For a moment, neither spoke. Victoria seemed to be gathering her thoughts, choosing her words carefully. Marcus waited, his heart beating faster than he wanted to admit. "I didn't sleep last night," Victoria finally said. "I sat in Ethan's room, watching him breathe, thinking about what you said, what he said, about me never being there, about the company being more important." She looked directly at Marcus, and he saw the exhaustion in her eyes, the weight she carried. "4 years ago I killed my husband." Marcus's breath caught. "The accident was my fault. We were arguing because I insisted we drive through a storm to get to a gala. Michael wanted to wait it out. I said we couldn't miss it, that it would look weak, that investors were expecting me." Her voice cracked. "The truck came out of nowhere. Michael turned the wheel, put himself between the impact and Ethan. He died instantly. Ethan's spine was crushed, and I walked away with a concussion and the knowledge that my ambition cost them everything." Tears ran down her face, but she didn't wipe them away. "So I buried myself in work, told myself I was building something for Ethan, securing his future. But really, I was just running from guilt, from grief, from having to face what I'd done." Marcus leaned forward. "Miss Thornwell, Victoria, please. Victoria, you didn't kill your husband. An accident killed your husband. An accident I created by putting my company first, like I always have, like I did until last night when a stranger showed my son more love in 1 hour than I've managed in 4 years." "That's not true." "Ethan cried in your arms. When's the last time he cried in mine?" Victoria's voice broke completely. "I don't know how to be his mother anymore. I don't know how to be present. I only know how to work, to achieve, to conquer. And none of that matters because my son is lonely and I don't know how to fix it." Marcus understood that feeling. After his wife died, he'd worked himself to exhaustion, convinced that providing was the same as parenting. It took Jasmine asking why he never smiled anymore to wake him up. "You can't fix it overnight," Marcus said gently, "but you can start, one moment at a time, one choice to be present instead of absent." "I want to, but I don't know how." Victoria wiped her face, pulled herself together with visible effort. "Which is why I asked you here. I want to offer you a position." Here it comes, Marcus thought. Some cushy job she thinks will solve everything. "I want you to be Ethan's companion, not a nurse, not a therapist. Just someone who spends time with him, talks to him, treats him like a person, not a patient." Marcus stared at her. "You want to hire me to be friends with your son? I want to hire you to show me how to be present, how to connect, how to be the parent he deserves." Victoria's hands trembled on the desk. "I know how this sounds. I know you can't buy connection, but I'm not trying to buy it. I'm trying to learn it, and you somehow already know it." "I'm not qualified." "You're the most qualified person I've met. You climbed 12 flights of stairs without complaint. You put a stranger's child before your own. You spoke truth to my son when everyone else just manages him." Victoria's voice intensified. "I don't need someone with credentials. I need someone with heart. Someone who knows what it means to struggle, to sacrifice, to love unconditionally." Marcus shook his head. "I have 2 jobs. I have Jasmine." "Which is exactly why this makes sense. The position would replace both your current jobs. $80,000 a year, full benefits, flexible schedule so you can be with Jasmine when she needs you. You'd bring her to the house, let her and Ethan spend time together. He needs a friend. She needs stability. Everyone benefits." $80,000, more than Marcus made in both jobs combined. Enough to afford Jasmine's medications without choosing between rent and prescriptions. Enough to move them out of Carmen's spare room into their own place. "Why?" Marcus asked. "Why me? You could hire anyone. Because Ethan asked for you. In 12 years, 4 of them in that wheelchair, he's never asked for anyone, but he asked for you. Victoria's eyes filled with tears again. And because when I watched you with him, I saw what I've been missing, not just in how I parent, but in how I live. You're not performing, you're not calculating, you're just genuinely kind. And I don't think I've met anyone like that in my entire adult life. Marcus felt something shift in his chest. This wasn't about money or status. This was about a mother desperate to save her relationship with her son, a woman who'd built an empire but lost herself in the process. I need time to think about it, Marcus said. Of course, take the weekend. We can discuss details on Monday. Victoria pulled out a card, handed it to him. That's my personal number. Call anytime, day or night, if you have questions. Marcus took the card, felt the heavy paper stock, the embossed lettering. This was real. This was happening. Can I ask you something? Marcus said. Anything. What happens when Ethan gets attached to me and I can't deliver, when I disappoint him the way everyone else has? Victoria looked at him with something like wonder. You're already thinking about protecting his heart. That's exactly why you're the right person. Marcus stood to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, Victoria, you're not broken. You're just human. And humans make mistakes, but they also get second chances. Victoria's expression crumbled. Thank you, she whispered. The weekend passed in a blur of internal debate. Carmen pushed for him to take the offer. Jasmine asked why he looked worried all the time. Marcus lay awake both nights, weighing the risks against the rewards. Saturday afternoon, Victoria called. I'm sorry to bother you, but Ethan asked if he could talk to you. Would that be okay? Before Marcus could answer, Ethan's voice came on the line. Marcus, it's me. Hey, buddy, how are you? Good. Mom took the day off. We watched movies and she made popcorn. She's a terrible cook, but it was nice. A pause. She said she offered you a job. Are you going to take it? Straight to the point. I'm thinking about it. You should take it. Not for the money, because I think we could be friends. Real friends. Marcus's throat tightened. Ethan, I know you're worried I'll get hurt if you leave, but I'm already hurt. At least if you come, even for a little while, I'll have had something good. That's better than nothing. Wisdom from a 12-year-old who'd already lost so much. Can I meet Jasmine? Ethan asked. Mom said you'd bring her. I've never had a friend my age before. She'd like that. So you'll do it? Marcus looked at Jasmine, who sat at the kitchen table folding paper cranes, her small hands working carefully despite her shortened breath. She deserved better than this cramped apartment, better than him working himself to death, better than constantly worrying about medication costs. Yeah, Marcus said, I'll do it. Ethan's whoop of joy made Marcus smile despite his nerves. Victoria came back on the line, her voice thick with emotion. Thank you, Marcus. You have no idea what this means. We'll figure it out together, Marcus said. On Monday, Marcus gave notice at both jobs. His warehouse supervisor didn't care. The building services manager looked confused but accepted it. By Tuesday afternoon, Marcus was officially unemployed, except for his new position with the Thornwells. Wednesday morning, he brought Jasmine to the mansion for the first time. She stood in front of the gate, eyes huge. Daddy, this is where we're going. She stood in front of the gate, eyes huge. Daddy, this is where we're going. This is where we're working now, Marcus confirmed, pressing the intercom button. Victoria's voice crackled through. Come in, please. The gate swung open. Jasmine gripped Marcus's hand tighter as they walked up the curved driveway. The front door opened before they reached it. Victoria stood there, dressed casually in jeans and a sweater. Nothing like the severe CEO Marcus had first encountered. Behind her, Ethan waited in his wheelchair, looking nervous and hopeful. You must be Jasmine. Victoria said gently, kneeling to the girl's level. Ethan's been talking about meeting you all morning. Jasmine looked at her father for reassurance. Marcus nodded. She stepped forward shyly. Hi, Ethan said from his chair. Do you really make origami? Marcus told me about your paper cranes. Jasmine's face brightened. I brought some. Want to see? Yeah. The ice broke that simply. Within minutes, Jasmine was showing Ethan her collection of folded animals, explaining each fold with the seriousness of a master teacher. Ethan listened, enraptured, asking questions, laughing at her stories. Victoria stood beside Marcus, watching them. Tears streamed silently down her face. I forgot he could sound like that, she whispered. Happy. Marcus understood. Sometimes you don't realize what's missing until you see it reflected back. Over the next hours, something remarkable happened. The mansion, usually silent and sterile, filled with children's laughter. Jasmine taught Ethan basic folds. He showed her his telescope, pointed out constellations he'd memorized. They discovered a shared love of terrible jokes and space documentaries. Victoria watched from the doorway, learning how Marcus gave them space but stayed present, how he let them struggle with difficult folds without rushing to fix things, how he treated Ethan's wheelchair as unremarkable, just part of who Ethan was. You're a natural teacher, Victoria said quietly to Marcus. I'm just letting them be kids. That's what I never understood how to do, she paused. Will you teach me? Marcus looked at this woman who commanded boardrooms and built empires, asking him, a janitor, a single father, someone she'd barely noticed before, to teach her how to be present with her own son. Yeah, he said, we'll figure it out together. That afternoon, as Marcus and Jasmine prepared to leave, Ethan grabbed his mother's hand. Mom, can they come back tomorrow? Victoria looked at Marcus. He nodded. Every day, Victoria promised, as long as they want to. Driving away, Jasmine turned to her father. Daddy, I like them. Me too, baby. Is this our new beginning? Marcus thought about broken elevators leading to unexpected connections, about climbing stairs that led somewhere better, about second chances neither of them had been looking for. Yeah, he said, squeezing her hand. I think it is. Behind them, Victoria stood in the doorway with Ethan, both of them waving. A family learning how to be whole. Again. Finally home. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.